Howdy hecking hey my dudes, how are you? Good, I'm fantastic. Let's get on with today's video. So with Animal Crossing New Horizons being literally just on the horizon, I'm recording this early, but by the time this video goes up, it'll be the week Animal Crossing comes out, and I'm very excited. But with that coming up, I thought, why not talk about my love for Animal Crossing and my love for one specific villager. Yes, this is an Animal Crossing love story, just bear with me though, it's really good. So when I was a kid, I was what you would consider an epic gamer. And by that, I mean just playing classic Sonic games, Shrek 2, Simpsons Hit and Run, and SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. That game was lit. If you've never played that game, what are you doing with your life? But yeah, I was quite the epic gamer at such a young age. Once I got into 5th, maybe even 6th grade, I got more into Nintendo games with the addition of the Wii into our home at the Nintendo Wii, not anything else, you idiots. And by the year after that, I had finally gained internet access through my shitty little iPod 4. You guys remember those, right? I'll be honest right off the bat, I actually have no idea how or when I discovered Animal Crossing. I just remember that my first game was Animal Crossing Wild World, and it had to have been somewhere between the 7th and 10th grade. It was a very old game when I discovered it. Anyway, once I entered high school, I was given my own personal laptop. And with that, being the epic gamer that I am, I downloaded countless emulators and ROMs and just continued feeding my endless urge to play video games. I could play any game I wanted on this laptop, and it was fantastic. One of the games that I had downloaded just so happened to be Animal Crossing Wild World. I did also download the original GameCube Animal Crossing, but there's no story or connection to that game. I simply downloaded it just to see how the series had developed over time. This main story involves Wild World. Anyway, at the time, I had a small group of friends, but I was always the quiet one that just kind of sat in the corner. I didn't really participate in too much. I really liked watching them for some reason. I'm a people watcher. And because of that, Animal Crossing was just kind of a way for me to connect with other people, even if those other people were just ones and zeros behind the screen. I felt connected to them, and it was... I don't know if any of this is making sense, but it was really nice to have a connection with those villagers. I formed what felt like real and genuine connections with the villagers in my town. And for some reason, and this becomes important later, I had made my own personal avatar villager male instead of female. I'm not exactly sure why, but back then I just connected more with male protagonists than I did female ones, and so it felt wrong to make myself a female, and thus I made my villager a guy. Pretty quickly after starting Animal Crossing Wild World, I had developed my first Animal Crossing crush, and I know everyone out there has one, there's no need to be ashamed, but my first Animal Crossing crush was Bunny. I have no idea what drew me to her, but I followed her around everywhere, and I would literally do anything she asked of me. I was like her slave. It was bad. And another villager that I would occasionally spend time with and talk to and hang out with was Coco. Nothing much. I would just kind of see her around and say hello and talk to her for a little bit. But the more time I spent with her, the more I realized that Bunny wasn't exactly nice to me. She was kind of demanding and pretty rude, actually. The nail in the coffin for me, though, was that pretty much as soon as I had that realization that Bunny was not particularly nice to me, I went and spoke to her, and she went ahead and made goo-goo eyes at another villager. You know that thing that they do where they put their hands together and a little love heart appears above their heads? Yeah, she did that for someone that wasn't me, and it was devastating. And so, my highly emotional teenage ass decided that it would be most appropriate to distance myself from Bunny and move on, because there was no way that it was gonna work out. I mean, you can't really do anything with the villagers in Animal Crossing, but that was my thought process at the time. And so I did just that. I distanced myself from Bunny, and I ended up hanging out with Coco a little bit more as a result. Now, if you've never played Animal Crossing before, there's this mechanic that allows villagers to kind of flirt with you in a way. Like, the more time you spend with them, the deeper your connection grows, and the only way I can describe it is the more flirtatious they get. They say pick-up lines like, "Oh, you're looking so nice today," or they'll just notice you more, and they'll do things that will make you blush. It's actually quite adorable. But they only flirt with a villager of the opposite gender, except for New Leaf, but I'll cover New Leaf later. They flirt with a villager of the opposite gender, and every villager flirts differently based on their personality types. Now, if you remember at the beginning, I said I made my villager a male, which made me the opposite gender to Coco, and we started hanging out quite a bit, like every other day, like quite a bit. And so eventually, Coco started flirting with me, but her way of flirting was the most adorable thing I had ever heard. She would ask me if I thought she was cute. She would ask me if there was someone I was interested in, or like if I had a girlfriend and stuff like that. And she would even ask me if I had my 4 somethings for marriage, like something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. And if you can't tell based on the audio, I am smiling like a dumbass just reminiscing this. Her way of flirting was the cutest thing I had ever seen. Now, at first, her behavior and her questions threw me off, like, quite a bit. And so I just answer honestly. But the more it occurred and the more I spent time with her, I actually developed feelings for her. I liked Coco. I liked her a lot. Pretty soon, I was always sending her letters, with presents attached, of course, and her adorable questions became opportunities for me to make her all flustered and blush and embarrassed, and it was just so cute. And even when I wasn't playing the game, she was always on my mind. And one day, I just had the realization that I was in love with Coco. Yucky, icky, goopy, disgusting love with Coco. And it stayed that way for years. It was just this never-ending cycle of trying to make her blush and just thinking about her all the time. Until one day, though, I had the biggest fucking scare of my life, you guys. Like, my heart stopped, I swear. Walking around town, I couldn't find Coco anywhere outside, and so I decided to visit her place. And she had her bags packed, ready to go. My heart stopped. It felt like it was going to rip right out of my chest, and I spent what felt like forever trying to convince her to stay in my town with me. Once she agreed to stay, I just saved and quit the game and stopped playing for the day. I needed time to process the massive scare that I had just had. Now, after that, stuff got a little bit hectic for me and I couldn't touch the game for 2 days. But those 2 days passed and I was finally had the time to pick up the game again. So I got out of bed, I checked the mail, and I got a letter from Coco. Just let me read to you what she said because I still have it. Dear Villager, Villager being me, I'm moving. There, I said it. I'd tell you where I'm going, but if you came to visit, I just know I'd cry. Please forgive me for going. This is how it has to be. Love, Coco. She had decided to leave me anyway. I still remember the feeling of my heart sinking and just how much I cried once I read that letter. Coco was the thing I looked forward to most every day. She told me she would stay. Why didn't she stay? I was hung up and upset about this for a month, and every now and again I actually drew art of us because I missed her so much. If I can find it, I'll pop it up on screen, but there's just lots of pictures of my villager and Coco together and being sad and edgy because I missed her so much. Over time, I had eventually moved on, but I always carried my memories of Coco in my heart, and I still do to this day. I miss her greatly. And by the time I was ready to play again, Animal Crossing New Leaf had come out. So I decided to abandon my Wild World town and the memories I had had with Coco in that town, still carrying them with me, but just not participating in that town, and starting again and turning over a new leaf. Oh my god, I'm so funny. By this point, my phase of resonating with male protagonists more than female protagonists was over, and I didn't see why I would make myself male when I was in fact female, and thus I made myself a female villager. I met new villagers and friends, and things were going really, really great. I had discovered sheep villages for the first time, and they're like my favorite thing in existence. They're so fluffy and adorable, and I love their scarves and just But anyway, things were going really good. And then something I thought would be impossible happened. Coco moved in. I remember my heart skipping several beats. I was so desperate to reconnect with her, and I still remember the feeling of dread and how upset I was when I spoke to her and realized that she didn't remember me, which I know is normal considering it is just a bunch of ones and zeros behind the screen and my interactions with her were from a completely different game, but still, that shit hurted. We began talking and hanging out, but I had made one fatal mistake. I had made myself female in this game, which means that I was automatically locked out of any romantic and flirtatious conversations that could happen with Coco. So I could never have that same connection that I had with her in Wild World. The best I could do was be friends with her and make sure I did whatever she asked of me when she needed help. And so that's exactly what I did. Now, initially, the realization that I couldn't have any romantic conversations with her actually physically crushed me, and I contemplated restarting the game to make myself male again. But I was just too comfortable in my new female avatar. I didn't want to go and change myself to be something that I wasn't just for the sake of this woman. And so instead, I just accepted that I couldn't have Coco in that way anymore, and we kept being friends. Since then, I've come to realize that while I still love Coco and I will always love Coco, I'm not in love with her anymore. And so I was able to move on and again deepen the connections with my current villagers and make new friends with new villagers and so on. She'll always have a really special place in my heart, and I hope she never leaves my town again because I do want to spend the rest of my life with her, but in a more platonic sense. I'll always love her and I'll always cherish our memories together. And I hope our paths cross once again in New Horizons. Oh my god, guys, Future Sylv here. Legit, as soon as I finished writing the script for this, I opened my Animal Crossing New Leaf Town and Coco had left once again. She's abandoned me again and I was on the verge of a meltdown. Like, I swear to god, just, oh, this woman, oh, I need her in my life. Why did she leave me? Coco, please come back. This is what she wrote to me. Dear Sylv, you've been so kind to me ever since we met. Please take care of yourself. I'll miss you. Your friend, Coco. Why did she leave me? I swear to god. Oh my god. If I don't see her in New Horizons, I'm actually gonna neck. I swear to god. And yeah, that's my Animal Crossing story. Well, love story, I guess. I don't know what to call it, but that's my Animal Crossing story. If you sneezed in the video at all, bless you, stay warm, stay cozy, stay toasty, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.